When Raw first came out, I absolutely hated it. I openly declared it overrated garbage, and the reason for it was that everyone just wouldn't shut up about it. I mean, everyone was overhyping it so badly. Everywhere you looked, you'd see it hailed as one of the most disturbing films of all time. There was reports cinemas had to give out sick bags due to its shocking content, and the amount of people declaring it one of the best horror films ever was overwhelming. This happens all the time with horror films, and it just makes me roll my eyes. When I sat down and watched it in 2016 as a seasoned horror vet, my reaction was, is that it? But now, the hype has died away. It's just another film to add to the halls of cinematic history, and I've had the chance to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes over the years. The film follows a young veterinarian student who happens to be a vegetarian as she starts her first year. We see her have to go through hazing rituals for new students that force her to eat meat. Unfortunately, she gets a real extreme craving for meat to the point she becomes addicted to consuming human flesh. It seems to be a dark metaphor for sexual awakening to me, but honestly, the film balances so many themes expertly that you can interpret it in a multitude of different ways. Whenever I talk to someone about this flick, they always seem to have taken something different from it. Female empowerment, hereditary mental illness, humans' inherent fascination with violence, the superiority complex we believe we have over fellow Earthlings, they all have weight. It's a twisted coming-of-age story that focuses on the relationship between Justine and her sister. It's a sibling rivalry on an extreme level. There's some really brutal scenes both physically and emotionally as they fight. Justine feels very human despite her condition, and you do worry about what's happening to her. It's not just a craving to eat humans that comes over her, it's also a sexual thrill too. It's so primal, exploring the themes of the human condition and how we are all animals at the end of the day, just like the animals that she's operating on, or in some cases torturing. The best scene is the first time Justine eats human flesh. It's done so realistically as she turns rabid with some fantastic prop work that it genuinely freaked me out a little. Her performance throughout the movie really sells the inner turmoil she's going through, with the dark cannibal that lurks just under her skin. The film isn't actually that gory, it's more the fact almost all the violence involves a human eating a human that gives it its reputation. Don't get me wrong, it's a violent movie, but if you're a gorehound, then this won't be one for you to watch just for buckets of blood. It's a really intimate story, and it has more than a few twists to keep things interesting as we learn more about Justine and her sister's lives. You teeter between empathy for the condition they feel compelled to act upon and vilifying them for the actions they take. One thing I have to give the film credit for is its setting. I don't think I can recall another film that's utilised a veterinarian college. It also actively influences the plot rather than just being there. It's a refreshing idea. Then, there's just some scenes that are tropes of indie horror films of this era. For instance, there's these shots of a horse that really serve no purpose other than just to add some atmosphere, I guess. It's a nice looking film at least, and has a strange mood to it. It's so bleak and depressing, yet with these beautiful bursts of energy.
Tu craches! Tu craches, j'ai dit! Mais putain, c'est une blague! C'est pour toi que j'ai fait ça! Putain, tu fais chier! Faut bien que t'apprennes, non?
Not all the twists work. The ending, for instance, you can see coming a mile away. So many films around this time were doing twist endings just like this. You know, where it reveals something then jump cuts to credits. I remember when I first saw the film, I called it around the halfway mark. It's not the worst way to end the film, but it is predictable. Other than that though, I can fully admit it's a brilliantly written movie that isn't afraid to go to areas that mainstream movies wouldn't touch in a million years. The film has definitely grown on me. There is a lot of unique factors at play, and it's a terrific take on a cannibal film. I still contest it's nowhere near as flawless as people say, and certainly isn't one of the most shocking movies ever that was hailed as, but I have grown to enjoy it for the stuff it does great. It's a fantastic layered experience. It's pretty mad, but the director's following film, Titan, turned into my favourite film last year. From seething pessimism to unending love. Man, I love movies.